Hello everyone, welcome back to the Digital Executives Hub, the podcast where we learn how to run a business from the best. I'm your host, Paul Pahovic. Today, we are going to talk about a tough challenge, leading a big company in the world that's always changing. How do you stay on track? How do you keep everything balanced? We are lucky, really lucky, to have a special guest today who knows a lot about this. Juha Näkki has been the CEO of Etteplan for over 11 years, but he didn't start at the top. He began his journey in 2005 as a business unit director and then moved up several times to more senior roles that eventually led him to becoming the CEO of Etteplan. Juha has seen it all. Now, he's going to share his insights with us. So, are you ready to learn how to navigate the world of business? If yes, don't go anywhere, because you're about to learn from Juha Näkki right here on the Digital Executives Hub podcast. I'm really happy that we got this opportunity, to talk, because Etteplan has evolved tremendously, within last couple of years, and I'm super interested in how was that journey of yours, right? Because you've been in charge for quite a while, and you've seen the whole process of this company changing, the process of going global. This is fascinating to me because doing this in one country is pretty intense and demanding, but have the ability to scale in different countries. That's something that fascinates me. Can we talk about that, about this journey that you were kind of in charge of?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what would you like to know, or where would we start?
Sure. You could start with the fact, like, what is your background? How did it happen that you eventually became the CEO of Etteplan? What happened before Etteplan?
Well, I'm an engineer by background, so I have a degree in mechanical engineering and industrial economics, or that was the major and minor of my studies, and I ended up in due to the fact that I got a summer job at the Helsinki shipyard. For out of all the places, I never studied shipbuilding, but I got the summer job there. Mm-hmm. And then I got another summer job, and then another summer job, and then they offered me a job, so I ended up in shipbuilding initially. So I was there for a while, which was very interesting, very large projects, demanding stuff, and a good place to learn project business. Moved on to sell stuff to the shipbuilding industry and to the mainly cruise ship owners, and that I did in a couple of companies, and the last company I worked for in the shipbuilding area was Kone. Before I was then hired to be the sort of managing director of a joint venture company between Etteplan and Kone in Hyvinkää in Finland, and that's how I came to Etteplan. So that was 2005, and since then I've had different kinds of roles, different kind of management positions within the company, and my responsibility was changing and growing a little bit to different kinds of businesses. 2011, I was responsible for operations, so basically all the sort of engineering operations which we had at that time, and we had some tech talk business as well, or technical communications business as well. So they were also in that palette. And then late 2011, our previous CEO left the company, and then I was selected as the new one in 2012. So that's how it happened. And then since then, of course, we have been developing the company further, and with the management team, there has been changes in the team, of course, a little bit. not too much. There are quite many people that have been with me for the whole journey in the management team as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been certain changes, and we have been working a lot with really building up the offering, working a lot with the solutions part of the business, and then really building the offering so that we are more and more competitive all the time and have a higher value add to our customers all the time. And then with that journey, we have seen opportunities to enter also new countries, as our offering has fit very well. We've also acquired companies based on their skill set and their competences, so they have brought new competences and widened our offering to the market. And that's how it has, kept on going. We've been able to really do a lot of stuff. We've been acquiring quite many companies over the time. We've been expanding from, Finland, Sweden, China operations to the Central European operations, and it's been an intense journey, but a lot of stuff has happened, and that's what kept it really, really interesting. Company is completely different today to when I joined.
That's for sure. And then one thing that was like the most challenging during this time, because growing a company globally, I cannot really imagine what's behind it. What was the one most challenging thing for you when kind of taking Etteplan global?
It's really difficult to say what's the one thing that was the most challenging.
One of the challenging things. Yeah.
I guess starting up the software service area, or the software and embedded solutions service area that is called today. That was done through an acquisition of the company Espotel, which also meant that we started the operation here in Poland. And they had an operation in Wrocław, so that was a part of the acquisition, and that was of course a new kind of challenge. We actually bought another company called Soikia Solutions on the same day with the same deal, so it was kind of interesting. But of course, widening the service area or widening the service offering through this kind of an acquisition, and really we also had some software and some hardware business in Etteplan side, which was then combined as a part of this service area. So I guess that was a major new thing for us, and really put us on the map for software services as a company. So that was expanding into something new again, something completely different, a new country coming on at the same time. So that was I wouldn't say. It was challenging, yes, but it was also very much fun. So that was maybe one of the moments.
So it all comes together, the engineering part and the software part, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be better at creating digitalization solutions, right? So at the beginning it was mostly engineering, then you added the software part. In terms of industrial digitalization or digitalization at all, can we talk a little bit about how they complement each other? Because you said you had a technical background, so that's really good. So let's say that we are already good. Etteplan was already good at engineering stuff, and now we added the software part. How that made the company better, in terms of offering.
Well, I think that we of course we had fantastic customers in the group. We know their products really well, and as this whole industrial digitalization was starting to pick up pace, that it's always been there. Products have always been containing software, and they've been somehow connected for a long time. But at some point in time, maybe 12, 13, 15. Somewhere there, it started to become mainstream that all basically industrial products were having some kind of software in them, some kind of sensors in them. They were also connected to the internet and sending some kind of data to the internet. So at that time, for some products already way earlier, but at that time, all sort of industrial products started to do that. So we felt the need to increase our competence base to the software side as well, strengthen that, because otherwise we felt that we would not be relevant for the customers. How do these complement each other? Of course, when you know the customer, when you know their products inside out, you know what they're supposed to do, you know the value they are creating for their customers. And then when you have the sort of technical skill set and knowledge to apply the sort of late new technologies and software technologies into the product and really help the customers to digitalize the products, follow them up more efficiently, make them work more efficiently. So of course you can bring a totally new kind of value add. So I would say that the understanding and the knowledge of the product and the customer's business, complemented by strong skill set in the software side, are really creating, or at that time we're really creating a unique value proposition. And we were one of the first companies to actually combine these two sort of skill sets together on top of the technical communication solution skills that we already had.
Yeah, I think that was a great decision, because till this day, there are companies that are good with engineering, companies that are good with software. There's a lot of software companies, but there's not very many companies that can put it together and can create a value proposition that can help the customer, go through the journey flawlessly, because they can take care of pretty much anything that can happen and that is required for that company to go through the digitalization process. So I think this is really, really interesting, and a lot of companies know that for digitalization processes you need both, engineering and software, but still not a lot of company actually puts that together and create a value proposition that's good for the end consumer.
This is true, and we sometimes, if we talk to our large customers, of course they have different organizations for maybe engineering and software. So sometimes we can even act as a sort of interface between their own departments, which sounds a bit funny and strange, but sometimes it is so that our customers have sort of every large organization has some kind of silos. And sometimes we can help to sort of bridge the silo between these organizations.
We already mentioned that going through the digitalization process, it's challenging, right? What in your opinion are like the main difficulties or challenges for the companies going through the digitalization process these days?
I think that of course, there are many things, but I mean, really finding the value in how to use the sort of the digital capabilities to improve their business. I mean, we see a lot of companies, and the sort of where the whole thing started was this kind of remote monitoring of different devices or pieces of equipment or whatever. But if we look at our customers still today, so quite few of them, I mean, they have been able to, with that, they have been able to improve the efficiency of their service business. So they will know how the machine works, and they will probably be able to predict a failure, for example. So they will know in advance, so then their service technicians can be there and improve the uptime of a device or something like that. But have they been able to monetize that? Have they been able to really create new types of businesses through that? And have they been able to create new kind of value for their customers? I think that has been a challenge that many companies are still struggling to overcome. And there are companies that have been able to create totally new kind of value streams, totally new kind of revenue models for themselves. And those are the sort of great examples that there are out there. But there are quite many companies who are still, through the digitalization, they understand their products better, and maybe they do more efficient service business. But that's about it for some companies. And for me, that's kind of slightly disappointing, I would have to say. I mean, you would expect more from some companies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
There's nothing wrong, just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with improving the efficiency of the service business. That's perfectly fine. But if that's the only thing you can do, yeah.
Yeah, I strongly agree that very often this digitalization became just a buzzword, just something that, every company talks about, but then there's a lack of organized, structured approach, a roadmap that would help them make that happen. And it's done randomly, in different places, different areas of the company. And I think that is super challenging for those companies. Anything else? Because I feel there are a lot of challenges.
Well, of course, it's managing the of course, the skill sets, and it's difficult. It's difficult to find people and how to really combine the right kind of knowledge so that you can create the right kind of solutions or products for yourself. That in itself is difficult, and of course then the whole technical development is really rapid and fast. There are new things coming up and popping up all the time. So how to really how to really keep up with that, and how to make sure that the latest things and you are relevant, and then you have the sort of access to the talent of the latest technologies, etc. So that is, of course, challenging for any organization, for us as well, but for any organization.
Yeah, whenever I think of Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, I sometimes think that maybe it's not that necessarily to have the Industry 4.0 implemented tomorrow. I believe that every company should kind of look at their own pace and kind of, please do not forget about the fact that the world is changing, right? So we have to keep that in mind, but also just going after the buzzwords, 4.0, 5.0. Sometimes there are probably things that can be implemented that are not that advanced, but still they help the company slowly move in the right direction. So the Industry 4.0, 5.0, 6.0. What is your take, on that?
Well, I think that every company needs to look at their own position and look at their own business, and then find relevant solutions for them.
Right.
I mean, maybe the latest technology, maybe the latest things are exactly the right thing for them, but that's not a given. There might be very traditional industries which just need to take a couple of steps to be much more efficient, and maybe they are steps that they actually need to take before they can move to some kind of more advanced. So there is always a path to take to really develop your business, and you need to take that path in such an order that it makes sense, and your organization is capable of handling it. Your the whole product or whatever it is you're doing is developed in the right way, so that nothing starts to fail or go to the wrong direction. So there is no right path that everyone should take. Everyone should have their own path and take the necessary steps there. And for some businesses, maybe just small things will do the trick, or will be enough to be more competitive and to run really great business. So it's up to any business, any company to look for themselves.
Absolutely, I love it. And then you started your career some time ago, and just by looking on how the industry have evolved, since that time, just being close to engineering and software solutions and technology, is there any kind of advice that you would give to a young person that is starting their career, the technology career, and anything that, just by looking at pretty big scale of Etteplan, any recommendation and advice that you would give to people that are starting their career in technology space?
Yeah, I guess I'm not the person to give advice on any technical things anymore, at least. But I guess the only advice that I would give is that that you need to really learn the stuff that is out there now, but you need to also be open to changes, because there will be new stuff coming up all the time. And if you think you know something today, that might become irrelevant tomorrow. So you need to stay sort of on the edge of the development, and you need to stay open to new things, new ideas, and understand how those things might impact your work or the business that you're working for. So that's, I guess, the only advice I would give.
Sure. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because the changes are happening faster than ever. So if you if you don't pay attention for 6 months, it's not like you're becoming irrelevant. But if you don't pay attention for 6 months and then you're trying to catch up, it's already super demanding, to be able to catch up. And whenever I talk to like digital transformation managers, they communicate that as a problem, that there's so many different things changing. The technology is going at the light speed. Basically, it's super difficult to catch up, and that's why they very often use services of external companies, because it is pretty much impossible for one person to be able to follow different technology trends and then implement them in their manufacturing plants. So they are efficient. So I'm really interested, as I very rarely talk to people that that see the big picture of a big company. Just understanding different moving pieces. How is kind of looking at the whole structure of the company that is located in different countries? I'm sure it's kind of challenging, but I really wonder how you look at it as a whole company that is kind of distributed in different locations.
Well, of course, I mean, we have a lot of locations. We have I believe 85 or so locations across 8 different countries. So it's a lot of different kinds of offices and different kinds of businesses that we have. But we always have in this company, we've always liked the sort of entrepreneurial thinking and culture, and we encourage that in our management and in our people. So we try to manage the company to be a one company approach, so that we are looking a little bit the same and feeling a bit the same. But then we are allowing the businesses in different countries to be a bit different, because you cannot have one size jacket that fits everyone. You have different countries, we have different kinds of businesses, we have different kinds of educational backgrounds and so on. We just try to manage it in a way that we can keep it together, and really in a way that all the parts that we have are sort of complementing each other. And but of course, to manage that and to understand that, you need to have certain reporting structures and blah 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 blah. But that's how it is. Sure.
And then another topic that I'm super curious about is sustainability. I believe that more and more companies are required to be more sustainable, right? This is kind of, but I also know that sustainability now in countries like Finland, Sweden, it's something that I think we care more, or at least this is what I think. Don't quote me on that. I think this is like we are the front runners of that. Would you agree?
In the sustainability aspect.
That's
you mean as in Etteplan?
Yes.
We are working with a lot of companies and that are having sustainability very heavily on their agenda. I personally think that there is a lot of legislation now coming up. There is the taxonomy reporting coming up and so on. So there's a lot of focus and these kinds of things coming from the sort of officials and so on. Personally, I think that the whole sustainability agenda has been driven by businesses for business reasons for a very long time already. So things have already been done to a large extent, and they will continue to be done by businesses because they make business sense and because companies want to be good environmental citizens. And I think that has already gone very far, and there will be more things coming up, and businesses will do different kinds of things to be more sustainable and to really help save the environment and really act in the way you're supposed to act in businesses for business reasons. And then there's the reporting. Needs to be done, but I don't think that drives anything.
So it was happening before, right?
Like, it was happening.
Because
it is happening.
It is happening, yeah.
Even if there would be no reporting, it still would happen, in my opinion.
Even if there was no name for it, like if it wasn't called sustainability, it would still happening. It would still be happening,
of course,
right?
There would be a name for it. Of course, that has to be there. But I still think that corporates feel responsible. I mean, they want to do good things, and they want to help to preserve the planet and do things accordingly. And it makes business sense. Their customers want to buy from sustainable manufacturing. They want to buy sustainable products, so it makes business sense.
Absolutely.
And for that reason, this thing will only continue to develop, no matter if we have to do reporting or not.
Right. And then I believe that the consumers they pay more and more attention, right?
Exactly.
To the fact that company is more sustainable.
Yeah. Consumers, investors, banks, everybody is paying more attention, and they will buy products. Consumers and the end users will buy products. This is one of the major buying criterias.
Right.
And for that reason, it makes business sense to be sustainable, and that will drive the sort of the way people act in their own choices every day as consumers influences the choices that the corporations make. And if the consumers act in a way that they want to buy, products that have been manufactured in a sustainable way, using sustainable materials, etc., so this is the way the businesses will go. And then the businesses might even take it further on their own initiative because it makes business sense.
Right.
So that's how it is. That's how I think. I know our communications department might have a different idea on it, but still, that's the way I think.
I think it's good. It's good that you communicate that. And then I know there's no one solution to fit all the companies, but I get this question a lot, and I just wonder, what would you answer to that? There are companies that are thinking of starting the digitalization process or becoming more digital, or just started doing things that would help them optimize some production processes or processes in general. Any kind of advice? And like I said, I know it's not that easy because there's different stages of that industrial digitalization or digitalization for different companies, but there are companies out there that are just thinking, what can we do? What can we do? What could be the first step of using the technology?
What would be the one thing that they can start with? I mean, that totally depends on where they are today. The only sort of thing I can say is that if you haven't started, you should start now, because the thing is that if you utilize digital technologies, you can improve your efficiency, your ways of working, you can create new business models, etc. You need to start. I mean, otherwise you will be out of business in the long run. Others will catch up. Others will go past you fast if you're not involved in this kind of development. That's the way the world is going. There's more digital solutions everywhere. Digital solutions are helping everyone in everyday life already. Digitalization is changing the way things are being manufactured, distributed, used, etc. So if you're not in the journey yet, you'd better be very fast. That's how I would say. But then every company would need to define their own path. As said, for some companies maybe the steps are small and on the sort of lower end of technology, maybe that's good enough for the time being. Maybe those are the necessary steps that they first need to take. Maybe for some company you can go from A to B on a high leap and just pass a couple of technologies and go to very latest technology directly, but that's a decision that every company has to make for themselves.
Yeah, it has to be kind of tailor-made for that particular company. Can we talk about the future a little bit?
Sure.
Because I'm fascinated by AI technology. I'm fascinated by technology itself and the way it changes the way we live, basically. Do you have any not predictions, but what do you think will happen in the future? Like, let's say that we're talking about the factory of the future. Would there be no people there? Would be paperless factory? Just robots and AI running the show? Or I know it's very futuristic question, but sometimes I like to think about it, because that kind of puts us in gives us a perspective of where we are and where this is all going, which of course we don't really know exactly where this is going, but I love that question, because it kind of let us think about the possibilities of the future.
Well, I think that the level of automation will be increasing all the time. That is a fact. And the things I don't necessarily believe in plants where there would not be any people working, but definitely the jobs that the people are doing will change. So there will be more and more automated things. There will be robots probably running around doing things, and then people are just sort of maybe overseeing, guiding, looking at things, configuring these kinds of things, and then using the data to take decisions. And even that can be done by AI to a certain extent, but it's a difficult question, of course. There are very many different kinds of plants, of course, and some things can be done, or some things need to be still done manually, and then maybe in some businesses there will still need to be. Maybe it's a competitive advantage that you can say that this is handmade. I don't know. Maybe that will be the case for some businesses.
That's gonna be that's
maybe. Who knows? Maybe it's not, but maybe it is.
Value proposition for companies.
But still, I mean, I definitely think that there will be jobs that people are doing in different kinds of factories or things will be different. There will be more automation. There will be more robotics, and the tasks that people will do will be more monitoring, guiding, overseeing, configuring, and analyzing what can be improved, etc. So, and developing the sort of automation, etc.
Yeah, I said before that I'm excited about AI. I don't know if I should be worried about it, or I should be using it on a daily basis, which I am. Anything out there in terms of technology that you're excited about?
Well, I do think that AI is a technology that we will see much more going forward. It is already there in very many things, but we will see much more of that. Combining AI with virtual reality, this kind of metaverse things, I do believe that will be a big thing in the future, and using sort of virtual reality to guide things or teach things, or show how things are done, or supporting different kinds of service operations or whatever. These are all possibilities, and I believe at some point they will be a reality. It's interesting to see how it will go.
Yep. So you said you started with Etteplan in 2005.
Yeah.
Yep. A couple years passed by already.
Yeah. A long time.
It's been unbelievable experience, probably, to see the company grow, to help the company grow. Basically, any takeaways from actually doing this, not watching this on TV, but actually scaling the company globally, dealing with people in different countries, different cultures, very often different regulations, and any takeaways from the process for the people that are maybe planning on scaling their companies, and they are kind of afraid of it. They don't really know how to approach it. there's always like takeaways and things that you learn if you actually do something, right? And anything that you would share, and any takeaways from that process?
Well, of course, it really depends on where you go and what you do. I think one of the key things is that you need to accept that things will be different in some other place. I mean, that's the thing. You need to, you cannot think that it will be the same. You need to accept and tolerate that there are differences and there are different ways of working, and then you need to find ways to make it similar enough so that you can get the advantages of the scale. Because if you just buy companies and start operations and they have nothing in common, nothing to do with each other, then you don't get the sort of economy of scale,
right?
In that sense. But I guess you just need to be open-minded and be accept that things will be different, and you need to work with the differences to be able to get the sort of benefits out of combinations. I guess that's the sort of learning that there can be shared.
Yeah. So first of all, you have to conquer the fear of change, the fear of new things. That would be kind of correct. At the beginning, that you're thinking of, yeah, that would be new. That would be something that I've never done before. That's so the fear is always there, right? The fear of change, the fear of not doing the right thing. But on the other hand, there's no other way to grow because you've never grown before, in this way, right? So you have to do it for the very first time. Was that like the part of the journey? Whenever you had to, make decisions, there's always some kind of doubts, about probably making certain decisions. Is that the part of of scaling, that the fact that you have to constantly think of what if this is the right decision?
Oh, of course. I mean, you need to evaluate any opportunity that you have to grow carefully, understand what are the things related, what are the risks related to that, how can you manage the risks, how can you maximize the opportunities, and so on. So it's careful judgment, of course. But then there's always a risk in expanding operations or whatever. You need to be able to take that risk, and you need to be have courage enough to take that risk. And there things will pop up always when you are building something new or acquiring something. So there will be surprises and things will pop up, and then you just need to accept that things pop up and deal with it.
Sure,
that's how it goes.
Sure. Like for most of this conversation, we're talking about business, right? But I just wonder, what about you as a person, as a human being? Because we are, first of all, human beings, and then we have different positions and different responsibilities. What do you do on on your free time? Like, is there anything that kind of helps you regenerate, or just helps you, because you're obviously dealing with a lot of responsibilities on a regular basis. What do you do to kind of recover from that, on the weekends or stuff like that?
Well, I mean everybody needs their own personal life on top of the professional life. If you only work, then you will not do good work
right.
just by working. Everybody needs to wind up a little bit and have their free time and have other interests than work. And for me, I'm a sports person, so I've done different kinds of sports all my life. Currently play tennis, do skiing, go to the gym a bit, and do other things as well. But and then I have a boat, and I like to go out with a boat in the summer times. And then of course I have two kids, two sons, and spending time with them, doing stuff with them, with the family. So those are the things I do.
I think it's good to share that, as very often, whenever we are thinking of people that are running companies, we think that they are just bulletproof people, that focuses 100% on their job. But I don't think that's even possible. I think you need that time, that whatever you just described, it's super necessarily to have that time off. So then you come back and deal with everything on a different, with like a fresh mind.
Yeah, it's important. Everybody, I mean, there are times, of course, when you need to really go flat out for the job. There is some process or project or an acquisition or something that requires your full effort for a certain period of time when you really don't have the time or possibility to focus on anything else. Yeah, there are those periods as well in this kind of a job. But then to compensate for that, then you also need to take some time off and do something else so that you will have the energy to continue and come up with new thoughts and new thinking and so on. So there needs to be a certain balance to it all the time, and it's really, in my kind of position, it's really up to me how much. I mean, I can work 24 hours a day if I want, but it's really up to me to manage that, and for everybody else as well.
Sure. Yeah, the 24/7 wouldn't be. I wouldn't like to see you working that, because that would not be good for you or the company long term. Yeah. So it was. I just wanted that. I wanted to have that like kind of personal question, as I strongly believe that it's very important to kind of show the human part of business people, right? Because very often business people don't want to show that, because they will only want to be seen as the constantly working people that are running businesses, maximizing them and stuff like that. But I believe that every person should have that other part that is not very often talked about, the human part. So I just wanted to find out about.
I mean, it's if you're going to be effective in your work, you need other types of activities as well. That's how it is. Your brain needs to rest a bit from, and you'll make better decisions if you have the possibility to think of something completely different once in a while.
Yeah. So but do you actually see like a difference whenever you go out and go to the gym and then you come back? Does it really help with like stress and the fact of being kind of overwhelmed with a lot of things? Do you actually feel the difference when you work out?
I guess you have you do different things. You have the possibility to set your mind somewhere completely different. You might while you're at the gym, you might think about business still, and you might come up with brilliant ideas there, and then you might come up with ending up calling someone during that. But that can happen as well. I mean, it's not so easy to just switch off. I mean, you are responsible, and you will have to be able to take up things if they turn up at some point in time. So it's not really possible to be turn on and off just like that. But still, concentrating and doing something completely different helps you get your mind off things, think about different things. So yeah, that's needed for everyone.
Beautiful. I really want to thank you for sharing like all the insights, because I'm fascinated by people that have achieved certain things in their lives, and that was super interesting to me. Your journey. That it took several years, but you were able to kind of create this global organization, help it grow with multiple locations. But also in the meantime, my goal was kind of, get to know you a little bit more as a human being, right? So I think I have a pretty good impression of who you are, what you think. It still wasn't enough. But on the other hand, I really appreciate the fact that you are that open-minded, and then we could have just a regular conversation, a little bit of the future, technology, your hobbies, the fact that you are a human being, and you also need to rest a little bit, clear your mind, so then you can come back and be even more effective. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And yeah, if you have any like takeaways, like anything that I haven't asked you about, and you like to share something at the very end. If not, that's fine, because I did ask a lot of questions. But sometimes there's like small things that we like to communicate, but the question was never asked. Anything on your mind?
No, not really. Sorry to disappoint you at that end, but I think it was a nice discussion. So thanks a lot. It was a pleasure for me.
I did ask a lot of questions. Yeah, I did ask other questions. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.